To cream or not to cream? That is the question. Before we answer this burning, often taboo question that still leaves many riders scratching their heads, let's have a look at the history of the humble chamois cream, put on this earth to soothe, protect and stop the chafing of our delicate nether regions. Prior to the introduction of the chamois, legend has it that riders often placed a stake in between their soft parts and woolly shorts to soothe and prevent chafing, a steak which they'd eat later in the day after it had been tenderized. Incredibly, padded inserts in riders' shorts didn't come about until the early 1940s when they were made of real sheep's leather, a little bit like this. Lovely and soft at first, but when washed and dried, became hard and abrasive. Not the ideal interface for the vulnerable undercarriage. Hence the need for something to soften the toughened, dried leather. Voila! Chamois cream was born. In the simple form of a softening balm or cream, which was applied directly to the chamois itself. And it wasn't long before this became a pre-race ritual for most riders, including myself, although I hasten to add, this wasn't in the 1940s. In the early 1980s, new chamois were developed, which quickly became very popular. And in turn, new chamois cream was also created, but rather than to soften the toughened leather, it was to reduce irritation on the skin and reduce chafing. Over the last decade, shorts, and indeed chamois technology, has come a very long way. The fit is far better, the chamois are contoured and ergonomic, and many are also antibacterial. And also they don't dry out once they've been washed. Which begs the question, do we need chamois cream at all? Well, we asked that question to you and also some pros. Now, for our survey, we actually spoke to 11 professional riders, 2 of which said yes, they use chamois cream all the time. 3 said no, don't use it at all. And 6 said they didn't use it in training, but did use it in racing. And from our Twitter poll, of which we had just over 5,000 votes, thanks for getting in contact, if you voted, 45% of you never use it at all, which was the majority. 24% said you use it every time, and 31% said sometimes. And if you're wondering about me, I don't use chamois cream at all now, but back in the 1980s, when shorts were a little bit like this, I did. If you already use chamois cream, or at least intending to, here are a few suggested do's and don'ts. Never double dip. This is a big no-no. Now, for those of you unsure about what this actually means, we'll put it as plainly as possible. It's dip into the pot with the finger, followed by direct application to the region, then dipping it again using the same fingers. Don't share your chamois cream, or for that matter, borrow anybody else's. The main reason for this seemingly uncharitable act of selfishness is because you don't know if they've double dipped or not. It's simply too risky. So get your pot, label it up and keep it yourself. Although if they have a tube, that's cool. This is more cycling etiquette than anything else. But if you're applying cream direct to your groin, do it in private, as the sight of someone rummaging around down below is enough to put anyone off their pre-race snack. What are you doing? Give me flipping heck, mate. Just keep
over me.
Just keep it private. God's sake. In 2 words, yes and no. Clearly, many of you don't use chamois cream, seemingly without any issue at all. And the pros, well, they're a little bit of a mix. So what can we conclude? So if you ride just a few days a week with a decent fitted pair of shorts, with a high quality chamois, you shouldn't experience any discomfort at all. But if you start increasing the distance of your rides and the regularity of your rides, especially in different sorts of weather conditions, then you may want to consider applying some cream. If you're new to the sport and haven't been riding long, saddle soreness can be a real problem, as your nether regions can take a while to adapt to the new surroundings. So, if you're experiencing discomfort, it's well worth the relatively cheap investment. I find that chafing, even with a high quality pair of shorts with a really good chamois, increases in wet conditions. So although I don't ordinarily use chamois cream, if I know I'm going out on a long ride in wet conditions, I will apply some to act as a barrier. One last important point to remember, chamois cream isn't a cure for saddle soreness. It's to try and prevent it in the first place. So if you've got really bad irritation or broken skin, it's worth staying off the bike for a couple of days to allow things to heal. And finally, if you're still in doubt, how about just trying it to see if it improves your ride? Now, if you haven't already subscribed to the Global Cycling Network, you can do so by clicking on the globe. It's absolutely free, and that way you won't miss another video. Now, to stay completely on topic, how about clicking just down here for top 10 ways to avoid getting a sore ass when cycling, or if you click just down here, you'll find how to avoid saddle-related numbness and discomfort.